Now, for our second Leaders interview this evening, we're joined in studio by Ivana Bacik of the Labour Party, outgoing TD for Dublin Bay South. You're very welcome. Thanks indeed for joining us on 6-1.
Thank you, David.
Your manifesto talks about the resources that will be available under different scenarios, depending on how the economy goes. But you don't cost any of your spending proposals, so it's very difficult to work out how realistic they are.
We do cost them. They're all costed.
Well,
they're
I had
all
a look.
there.
They're not. It doesn't say it there.
Well, they're all set out between the document here and indeed our alternative budget proposal, which we published just back in October, and which carefully does cost every single thing in this. For example, we have proposed €10 billion to be spent on public transport. That's absolutely crucial. €5 billion from voted expenditure, €2.5 billion from the Apple taxes, and €2.5 billion from the Future Infrastructure Fund. And I'll say this, David, we're the only party that isn't offering once-off tax breaks. We've been described by independent commentators as having the most sustainable and well-costed plan and programme in our manifesto because we are building a sustainable base. We're very serious about job creation, about growing the innovation economy. We've got very substantial proposals, for example, on a future job strategy in a Department of Digital and Communication.
Yes.
And we are supporting the government efforts to set up the rainy day fund to ensure that we will have a cushion there, a savings nest or a nest egg, if you will.
OK, so if a voter is looking at your manifesto and wants to find out how much the various things cost, they have to look at a different document because it's not in the manifesto.
No,
it is not in the manifesto.
It is all in there, David. You can go through it.
It's not. There are no numbers beside any of them.
Excuse me. And right at the back, you'll see the full budget plan and costings.
Yeah, no, I see the plan, and I mentioned the plan, but you don't cost the individual proposals in the manifesto. Now, you're telling me that's in the alternative budget document.
Between this and the budget document,
so you have to go and look at a different document. That's fine. You have to go and look at a different document.
All our costings were passed by the Parliamentary Budget Office.
Yes.
And as I say, independent commentators have said we're offering the most sustainable pathway to delivering the change we want to see. And the change we want to see for communities is an active state. It's a vision of an active state that can deliver on housing, deliver on disability services and health services, and all the challenges that we have. We've 60,000 children in consistent poverty, 4,500 children without a home. We need an active state to deliver public services, and that's what we in Labour stand for.
Now, you mentioned you don't talk about tax cuts. You do commit to indexing tax bands and credits,
Absolutely.
I think. Yeah.
Yes.
It is possible, of course, to give working people, a break on their taxes, on their USC, as some other parties are arguing, and to make up for that by taxing the better off. It's the kind of thing that left-wing parties sometimes suggest.
Yes, and you'll see in there that what we propose is that the focus of taxation should be on wealth, not work. We're the party of work, the party of workers' rights. So we absolutely believe that any focus in a fair taxation system should be on taxing non-productive assets or wealth. And that's why we've got a proposal there to emulate the Spanish wealth tax model introduced by the socialist government there, which would see a 2 to 3% surcharge on assets worth 3 million or more.
How much is that likely to raise?
Well, a lot of interest around the world in how that would frame out. We simply say we want to see a feasibility study on that.
Okay.
So we're not baking that into our figures.
Okay.
But we envisage that it could raise significant amounts in the future. But what we have done, David, is we've made provision for the rainy day, for that safety net that's there.
Yes, I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, and that's a hugely important thing. Because other parties, let's say this, have had black holes in their finances.
Okay.
We've made provision for public sector pay deals, provision indeed for ensuring equality of pay and esteem, parity of esteem with Section 39 care workers who currently are not getting that, as we know. OK.
To talk about housing, you're targeting 50,000 new homes a year, 250,000 over a 5-year term, which is, I think, less than some of the bigger parties are talking about. And one of your big ideas is to convert the Land Development Agency into a state construction company. How long would that take and how many workers would it employ?
Well, first to say that the Land Development Agency offers a really appropriate vehicle to deliver homes at scale. We need to get the state back building homes again. What we've said is the Land Development Agency, set up 6 years ago now, has simply failed to deliver because it doesn't have the capacity. It's about 200 staff currently. It is only just beginning to deliver affordable homes on state-owned land. We believe that if we ramp it up, and we're proposing €6 billion from the Apple windfall tax, a seed capital to put into it, that we then will start to see, and what we're anticipating in 3 years' time, it will deliver 10,000 social and affordable homes directly. The number of workers needed, David, is a critical point.
Yes.
I make the comparison with the ESB, a successful state entity operating in a regulated market alongside private entities. The ESB employs nearly 8,000 people.
So is that the sort of scale of what you're talking about?
Yeah, precisely.
Okay.
That's the scale of ambition needed. The private sector simply cannot currently bear the risk of construction costs. Only the state has the deep pockets to underwrite the risk at a time where we see construction costs rising. So many people I have met on the canvas, but before engaging with stakeholders and construction workers, tell me that this is how it has to be. And indeed, we've been here before. The state built through a national building agency back in the 60s and 70s at scale. And that's where we need to go again. Communities are crying out for it across the country.
Okay, you said after the election you'll try and agree a common platform with the Greens and the Social Democrats. Social Democrats don't seem very interested. But does that mean that Labour will not enter government formation talks with one or other of the bigger parties without having that common platform? You won't go and talk on your own without the Greens?
No, our first act, and clearly nobody has voted yet. I'm fighting for every vote in Dublin Bay South. But if I am re-elected to the Dáil, I've given a very clear commitment that the first thing I will do as leader of the Labour Party is go and speak with other parties that share our values.
I just said that. But my question was, does that mean you won't talk to Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael or Sinn Féin without those other parties?
That's exactly what it means. Because we are serious about
delivering... So you
delivering...
won't go on your own?
No, we're serious about delivering change. I'm a trade unionist. We want to bargain from a position of collective strength. I think anyone on the left serious about delivering change needs to see that there's strength in numbers, and we go into any government formation talks, therefore, from a collective base with greater strength to deliver on the policies that our communities need. Families facing eviction, parents paying through the nose for childcare, kids unable to access disability services. That's what we're about, is delivering that vision of change.
OK, Ivana Bacik, leader of the Labour Party, thanks for joining us on 6-1.